So I want to show you some modifications for Vrksasana, tree pose. So the pose normally is like this, with the whole sole of your foot against your inner thigh, right? Now so here's one tip that will help you stay in it if you can get into it, but you can't stay in it. And that is to press the sole of the foot against the inner thigh, and then with the inner thigh, press back against the sole of the foot. And it creates more friction so that your foot doesn't slide down. But it can still be just hard, especially in the beginning of practicing yoga, to get the foot to stay. So another way that you can do that is to take a yoga strap and wrap it around your ankle, and then you can hold it up. Now, if the issue is more that you just can't bend your knee this deeply, then it is fine to work with the foot lower down. All I would say is, remember how I said you're pressing with the sole of your foot against your inner leg. So you don't want that to be right, oops, it's a balance pose. You don't want it to be right at the knee. If I really stayed in this, it was putting pressure outward on my knee, and we don't want to put that lateral pressure on the knee. So then I would just have you take let me get this loop out of the way, take the foot down to your shin, inner calf, and you can still do the pressing of the foot against the leg this way, the leg against the foot this way, okay? And then the last modification I'm going to show you, the last option. By the way, before I move on, you don't necessarily need that strap, okay? You can just do it like this. I was using the strap because I had it in my hand, but I didn't mean to imply that you need to use the strap for this option. Now the third option can be just done with a folding chair, or if I have like a cedar chest in my workout space that I use for things like this sometimes, coffee table, edge of a couch. My point is you want something that is about at knee height, because this is what you're going to do. Bring one foot up onto the chair, and then this becomes, so the standing leg is still vertical, and this becomes like the bent leg in tree pose. And so here, you can just try this version, and compare them, and you want to see which one really helps you get the most into the actions of the pose. So let me talk about those because I haven't gone there yet. And by the way, in any yoga video you're following, they should give these instructions and mention these actions. So this isn't supposed to be, a standalone, here's how to do tree pose, but I will remind you of what the actions of the pose are. But, don't try this just on its own. This is for doing in the context of a yoga class or, a sequence that's part of a video. Okay, so the actions of the pose. You're pressing down strongly through the standing foot and lifting the kneecap up and pressing the thigh back, especially the inner thigh, right? Because our legs, most of us tend to turn out a little bit. Okay, so that's a strong standing leg. And then in the leg that's bent, you want to, you're pressing through the sole of the foot, whether it's pressing on the chair or pressing on your inner leg. Okay, and then whichever position you are in with this bent leg, you can lengthen from the groin out to the inner knee, and it's like, imagine like a rope around your leg. So from the groin out through the inner knee, and then from the outer knee, you draw up into the hip. So the rope goes like this around the outside. And it is an action of moving my knee back in space, but it's not like jamming the knee in the hip socket, and I don't want to move it so much that my whole body turns. So that's why it's important to get this extension and then drawing back on the outer thigh and not just jamming the knee back. So hopefully that makes sense. Lastly, I want you to remember to lift and broaden your chest and just keep your neck in a neutral position, looking straight ahead. And then once you are good with the balance, you can take your arms straight up and even bring your palms together overhead. But the arms, it's It's kind of like the icing on the cake. You want to get the foundation first. Hopefully this was helpful, showing you some options for tree pose. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.